Why is it so much harder to wake up in winter? I always thought that it was just me, and if only I had more discipline, it would be easy to drag myself out of bed and go get my non-existent morning sunlight. But turns out, it all comes back to your circadian rhythm. So as the days get shorter, your circadian rhythm essentially shifts to fall in sync with the winter daylight patterns. That has a direct effect on your hormones, making you feel tired earlier and want to stay in bed longer, even if your alarm's been set at the same time for the whole year round. You don't have any trouble sleeping, do you? No. This is mostly because your body produces more melatonin, which is like the sleepy hormone, when it's dark. And since winter mornings tend to be darker for longer, your brain still thinks it's nighttime, which is why it's so much harder to actually get up and feel properly awake and alert. So yeah, it's great knowing that, but we're trying to lock in with our winter arc, and how can we do that when it feels near impossible to wake up early and actually be productive? Girl, I don't know if anyone told you this yet, but your morning starts the night before. It doesn't matter how optimal your morning routine is unless you've set yourself up well the night before. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to optimize your winter night routine to naturally reset your circadian rhythm, improve your sleep quality, and actually wake up feeling energized, even when it's freezing cold and pitch black outside. We love that. Yeah, it's great. So this is episode 3 of our new Winter Arc series. Last week I gave you the complete Winter Arc game plan, which laid out a 90-day plan that you can just follow. And I'm going to be giving you a full body workout at the end of this video too to add on to that plan. So stay tuned and let's lock in. And subscribe because I know you're serious about your Winter Arc and I want to hear about all the results you get on your journey too. Girl, you know I don't give you any information without receipts, so I'm gonna go do my skincare and I'm gonna talk you through this routine. You know that one friend who's always like, oh, I just wake up naturally at 6 AM every day? Yeah. I used to think that they were both different. Like, how are you thriving when I can barely open one eye before 7 AM? But then I found out it's not all about being a morning person. It's more about having a consistent sleep routine. So your body actually runs on a 24-hour internal clock, which is your circadian rhythm. And it loves consistency. When you're going to bed and waking up at random times, your body gets confused. Your hormones, melatonin, cortisol, those get thrown off and you feel groggy even though you slept for 8 hours. And this gets even worse in winter because, like we already chatted about, your rhythm shifts naturally with the shorter daylight hours. Your brain starts releasing melatonin earlier in the evening and keeps producing it longer in the morning as well, which is why it's so hard to get up while it's still dark outside. So yeah, consistency actually matters. I hate to break it to you. I know everyone tells you to go to bed earlier, but your mom had a point. One of the most powerful things we can do to reset our circadian rhythm actually happens in the morning, so I'm going to save that for a morning routine video, but let's walk through this routine starting 3 hours before we go to bed. Okay, so there's this Harvard study and it completely shifted my perspective around evenings. So the researchers brought volunteers into a sleep lab. They weren't allowed their phones and it was to test how light affects your body's natural sleep hormones. They split the volunteers into 2 groups. One group spent their last few hours before bed in a bright, typical indoor kind of lighting room, the kind you probably have on right now, and that I'm standing in my bathroom with. The other group sat in a dim, warm light kind of candlelit room. Everything else was the same bedtime, same room temperature, same routines. But when the researchers measured their melatonin levels, the results genuinely shocked me. The people under bright light had their melatonin suppressed by up to 85%. They didn't even fall asleep until an hour and a half later than the group in the dim light room. So to implement that into our optimal night routine, about 3 hours before we go to bed, we want to start dimming lights everywhere we can. Other studies also mentioned that the position of the lights themselves can play a role as well. Because when you think about daylight, the sun is high in the sky, but as the sun sets, it gets lower in the sky. So we want to be turning off all bright overhead lights and stick to warm, low lamps. Not to sound like every other wellness influencer out there, but it's kind of like romanticizing your evening. So we're going for cozy cafe kind of vibes, not bright fluorescent hospital wing kind of vibes. You get me? Now, up until last year, I used to be a chronic evening snacker. The whole day would be fine, but then when 9 PM came around, the fridge did not know what hit it. And I'm not talking just a quick snack either, because I had calorie goals to hit, so I was kind of playing catch up on the calories I hadn't managed to get in for the rest of the day, and I would be there eating random things until like 11 PM or later than that. And when I was doing that, I never woke up feeling fully refreshed, but I didn't quite put the 2 and 2 together. But then I found this 2021 meta-analysis, and it looked at how food intake acts as a time cue for peripheral clocks in your liver, gut, and muscles. Bet you didn't know they had watches. And they found that eating too close to bedtime can desynchronize these clocks from your circadian rhythm, meaning it impairs metabolism and fat oxidation during sleep, which can worsen glucose tolerance and reduce your sleep efficiency. So now I always aim to finish eating at least 2 hours before bed, and I usually opt for a lighter meal instead of having super heavy stuff. Now there's something else I'm guilty of doing 2 hours before bed that I still do even to this day, even though I know it's not good for me, and you're probably doing it too. I know you've probably heard a lot of people yap on about how you should avoid blue light before you go to bed because it stops you being able to sleep properly, and that is true. true. I'm guilty of working late or watching YouTube late into the night just as much as the next person. But what people don't tell you is that it's not all about the blue light. Yes, it plays a big role, but what also plays into our lack of ability to fall asleep, maybe even more, is the actual stimulation that's coming from the device that we're using. So if you're scrolling social media before bed or doing activities where your brain is constantly active, then it's going to be a lot harder for you to shut that off. Even though we switched our screen to night mode. Because yeah, I do that too. I know some of you are going to hate me for saying this, but this is some advice that one of my friends from my small group actually gave me when I said I was struggling to fall asleep. And that is, go pick up a book. Not only does a book not emit any kind of light at all, there's just something about the physical pages that hits differently to having a screen. I know it's going to be hard because I'm very much working through that process too, but start small. Start reading for 10, 15, 30 minutes before bed, and I'm pretty sure you'll notice the difference in how fast you fall asleep. I found this Bible reading plan that I wanted to try out, and I'm not very far through it, but it's about how to seek God's kingdom first in everything that we do. So if you want to go through the plan with me, then I'll put the link in the description. I made a little table putting everything together for your optimal winter night routine, and also included the scientific references if you want to do some more research. But to give you a few more quick tips, I use a sunrise alarm clock that also has a sunset feature, which can be pretty useful for helping you to know when to go to bed. To save time and reduce decision fatigue the next day, always lay out your clothes the night before, and opening your windows to cool your room down about 30 minutes before you go to bed can help you fall asleep and stay asleep a lot easier. I'm going to be sounding a bit funny because I've got my retainers in, but before I go to bed I always make sure I have my glass of water so it's ready for the morning and I can get that in, get rehydrated as soon as possible. I mean, spoiler for the morning routine, but we want to be prepared and lay things out like that the night before. I also like to listen to a short daily devotional as I'm going to sleep, so I put on a sleep timer so that Spotify just automatically turns it off as soon as the episode's ended. And then it's time to turn off the lights and have the best winter sleep of your life. So now that you know how to get the best sleep of your entire life, it's time to put that energy to good use in your winter workouts. So I'm going to walk you through a full no I'm not, it's an absolute lie. I'm going to walk you through the full body workout as part of our 90-day winter arc plan. Also, one of you guys DM'd me on Instagram asking for a PDF of the whole 90 days so you can print it off, so I've done that for you and you can download it completely for free in the description. But I've also gone a step further than that, because in the 90-day plan I didn't really give you much guidance on nutrition, so what I've done is I've made a whole winter arc program in my app. Now don't tell anyone about this program because it's going to be completely exclusive only to you guys who are watching this series. The program includes all your weekly workouts laid out in the app, along with videos to show you how to do the right form, and areas where you can track your weights and your overall progress. But if you've watched pretty much any of my content before, then you'll know that nutrition makes up about 70% of the results that you actually see from your workouts. So that's why, as part of the program, I'm including a completely tailored meal plan that's specific to your exact calories and macros that you need to reach your goals. Look at this pause right there, because I forgot to mention one of the most important parts. You see, for most of my other programs like this that I offer, that is £50 per month. However, because this is your winter arc and I want you to be serious about locking in, I'm giving it to you for just £1 per day. That is a tiny investment, but that investment is going to be one that your future self will thank you for. Trust me. You do have to apply to the program, but just so I know it's the winter arc plan that you're looking for, type in winter arc in the first question in the application form. But also, if you do want more one-to-one support on your fitness journey, I do offer one-to-one coaching through the same application form, so you can also fill it out there, and I honestly can't wait to help you reach your goals. Bruh, those shots were so close. I thought I was on 0.5. Ah well, it's full body day, let's go. Okay, so first things first, we do not skip our warm-ups because we do not want to get injured. So we're going to start with 5 minutes of light cardio. I usually do either the elliptical or the stairs for that. And then we're just going to do some dynamic stretches. I've got a full follow along warm up in the stretch playlist on my channel, but I'll also link it here. But the main goal of our warm up is to increase our core body temperature, mobilize our joints, and help us get a better range of motion in our lifts. Girl, this is your reminder to always bring spare hair ties to the gym because mine broke literally as soon as I got there, and I was so scared that I didn't have another one, but I did, so all good. It didn't match, but it served its purpose. Okay, first up, we have Smith machine hip thrusts. I've really been loving these recently because it's got a slightly different movement pattern to a traditional barbell hip thrust, and it's such less of a faff to set it up. I couldn't think of a better way to describe how far away you want to set up the bench from the machine, but it's roughly the distance of having one foot in front of the other, so the heel of one foot is touching the bench and the toe of the other foot is directly under the bar. And then when you're going to do the hip thrust, the edge of the bench should be just under your shoulder blades. But I would recommend starting with a warm-up set just to make sure that everything's in the right position, and also to help you get that mind to muscle connection with the glutes before we go heavy. I like using a step with this setup to help me get a little bit of an extra range of motion, but if you don't have it, then that's that's fine, you can do it without as well. But at the top of the movement, your knees should create a 90-degree angle, so you want to make sure that the step is directly below your feet at that point. Have your feet shoulder width apart with your toes slightly pointed outwards. You want to keep your chin tucked throughout the movement. Drive through your heels and squeeze your glutes hard at the top. You also want to make sure that you're not overextending your lower back at the top, and basically think about your spine being in a straight line when you get there. We're thinking control on the way down and power on the way up. And don't be afraid to go heavy with these. Since it's the Smith machine, you will likely have to put some force on the bar by rotating it towards you or away from you depending on your machine, because otherwise it's going to latch back into the hooks. I thought it was a bit annoying at the start, but you get used to it over time, so I think it's really just more of a matter of practice. I usually rest around 2 minutes between these sets, because if you're pushing hard enough, trust me, you are gonna need it. We're structuring this full body workout by doing our main compound lower body exercises first, where we've got the most energy, and then we'll go into some compound upper exercises, and then we'll finish off with some isolations. That's gonna make the most of the energy you've got available and make it safer too, because we're doing our heaviest and most risky, I guess, compound exercises first. Next up, we've got barbell Romanian deadlifts. I always start with just a warm up with the bar, 8 reps or so, just to make sure I've got the form down. So we want a soft bend in our knees, and the bar should be close to our legs the whole time. On the way down, we're pushing our hips back. We're bending our knees slightly as we go down, with the aim of feeling a stretch in the glutes and hamstrings. You want to retract your shoulder blades, keep your back flat and your neck neutral. Stop lowering the bar when you feel a deep stretch in your hamstrings, and this is usually around mid-shin for most people. On the way up, you want to drive your hips forward, squeeze your glutes to the top, but don't hyperextend. I guess it's kind of like a vertical hip thrust, but a good cue that one of my friends told me was, imagine you just got out of your car and you dropped your keys, then you're trying to shut the car door with your butt at the same time. But if you're still not comfortable with the movement, I'd recommend trying it without the weights and just practice against the wall, so pushing your hips back until your butt touches the wall, and that's how you know you're in the right position. Now, one problem a lot of people struggle with when they're going heavy for Romanian deadlifts is their grip strength. So there's a few things you can do. First, try a mixed grip where one hand's over the bar, the other hand's under the bar. Then you can try using chalk, where you can do a combination of those two. But thirdly, and my preference, is lifting straps. Here's a quick demo on how to use them. Once you've looped them around the bar, you want to twist them towards you to secure them in place. That's going to take your grip strength more out of the equation, so you'll be able to get more reps with heavier weight, meaning most likely more gains. I'll put the Amazon link to all the equipment I use in the description. Next, we're moving on to push press. Now, push press is a compound exercise like the two that we just did, but it's got more upper body involvement. So we're kind of transitioning over into the second phase of our workout. Start with the bar at shoulder level, your elbows slightly in front of the bar. Dip your knees slightly, kind of like a quarter squat, and keep your torso upright. We're driving through our legs and pressing the bar overhead with some explosiveness behind it. Once you get to the top, we want a slight pause, and then you're controlling the bar back down to your upper chest. Make sure you keep your core tight the whole time and you're not overarching your back. And the aim with this one is to get it into more of a fluid movement, so each rep kind of leads into the next. It may take a few tries, and feel free to start with the super lightweight to begin with and then work it up before you're working sets. But once you've got the form down, you'll find that you'll be able to press more than you can with just a strict shoulder press or a strict barbell press, because you've got that momentum with the leg drive. Now we're into the upper body exercises. Okay, we're starting off with cable row. For this one, we're focusing in on our back and our lats, and the main cues are to sit up tall with your chest up and your shoulders back. You're pulling the handles towards your lower ribs and keeping your elbows as close to your body as you can. Squeeze your shoulder blades together at the back and control the way forwards. I actually find it helpful to think about moving forwards with the handles, because that can help you get a bit more stretch on the lats. And then when you come back, avoid leaning back too much. You want to drive your elbows back, but your upper body shouldn't be leaning back too far. And when you really slow it down, you'll be able to feel the movement coming from your back, arms and shoulders, not momentum. You know what time it is? It's superset time! I tried out this superset the other week and I quite liked it, so I thought I'd throw it in this workout. If you've not tried doing a superset before, all it is you do one exercise, and without rest you go straight into the next exercise and then you rest. So today we're doing a bicep and chest superset, starting off with incline curl. Incline hammer curls to be precise. Set up the bench around 30 to 45 degrees, grab a pair of dumbbells, sit yourself down, and we're ready to go. Keep your shoulders back and your chest open, and curl the dumbbells up with your palms facing inward. So this is a neutral grip. Think about keeping your elbows pinned in space, and as always, we want that nice slow controlled eccentric on the way down. This setup's actually pretty good for limiting momentum, which is definitely a win. But to help you get that mind muscle connection, really slow it down and think about your biceps working. Like, visualize that squeeze at the top. As part 2 of your superset, you're going straight into push-ups. Yeah, I know, don't come for me. But also don't worry if you can't do a push-up yet, because I've got a lot of adaptations, so over time, you will be able to get your push-up. I've got you. Okay, key push-up principles, whatever level you're at. Hands directly under your shoulders and slightly outside shoulder width. You want to engage your core and glutes to stop your hips from sagging. And the aim is to get our chest as close to the floor as possible. We're keeping our elbows tucked and pushing through the palms of our hands, squeezing our chest and triceps at the top. Level 1, you're going to grab yourself a bench, and we're doing incline kneeling push-ups. As a general rule of thumb, the higher the incline, the easier it's going to be. And when you can get 6 to 8 reps, you're going to progress to regular incline push-ups. After that, we're getting rid of the bench and progressing to knee push-ups. Then you can also practice slow negatives. And finally, you progress onto a full push-up. Now, it takes time to work through these progressions. Don't expect it to happen in a week. But push-ups are one of those exercises that really combine strength with technique. So once you get good at the technique, then you'll be able to build up the numbers fairly quickly. You're going to be feeling this ab finisher tomorrow, just being honest. So this is another superset, but we're doing 2 different ab exercises back to back. So we're starting with decline leg lowers. To make this easier, you can do leg lowers on the floor or decline reverse crunches like I'm doing here. The main thing you want to keep in mind for this one is making sure you're not rushing through the movement. So at the top of the movement, focus on squeezing your abs and then slowly lowering back down. This one's going to shift some of the focus onto our lower abs, and then we're going into knee tucks. Again, you can do this without the weight, but doing it with the weight, this is mainly focusing on our rectus abdominis. We're keeping it nice and slow and controlled, breathing out at the top and in on the way down. Then you're going to repeat that 2 more times and we're done. So here's the full workout. You can pause and screenshot now, or it's also in the PDF or the app version of the WYMSHARK plan that I've already made for you guys. I actually forgot to film a proper outro to this video, but I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, because we're on the road to 100k and I love you guys so much in this community. You're honestly so positive, and I love hearing about all your stories and how your fitness journey is going so far in the comments. So let me know how you're getting on with your winter arc, and if you missed the other 2 episodes of our winter arc series, check out this playlist next, because you're going to want to catch up on these. Love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.